Bomas of Kenya, NASA core principals, including Bomet Governor Isaac Ruto, have just ended that particular meeting. So officially, Isaac Ruto is a core principal in NASA. And there's a lot of speculation. They say, NASA actually said that it will announce the flag bearer for August presidential election at a public rally on the 27th of this month. In studio, I've Dunstan Omari and Dismas Mokua in studio to help us analyze this. Dunstan, there's a political significance to that date, 27th, just after the nominations.
Yes.
Why?
So that everybody will have been locked in. You have nowhere to go. The principal has been named. So there is nothing. There's no apathy within the 5 principles issue. The question, Linda, that I'm worried about is what is likely to be the effect of Isaac Ruto's movement to NASA? Are we likely to see the Latich issue where people who could, during the KANU era, if you raise 2-finger salute, 1 finger is cut? Is Bomet going to start causing problems? Are the Kalenjins going to start beating people of Mashinani? Are we likely to see tolerance where in Bomet and in other regions? Let us see how the Kalenjin elite react to Isaac Ruto's issue. I'll tell you for free that the reality of the decision is going to be felt tonight. I saw Senator Murkomen
today in the morning, yes.
Dismiss Nani very violently. So is it going to cause a lot of tension?
It's a democratic
within?
nation, isn't it?
Let us see. We hope that democracy prevails, that Isaac Ruto can move to any party of his own choice. And 2, whether he moves with 10 people, this election will be won by 50+1. Any one vote that Isaac Ruto moves away with is an Uhuru vote. That is an Uhuru vote that has gotten lost. So it is really critical, as Dismas says. I'm likely to see between today, tomorrow, and on 27, very many governors who have parties moving to join NASA. And when that movement comes, then on 27, why it is a very critical issue, it is going to be the start of a movement, a wave. They have been keeping the pregnancy for 11 months. The delivery is expected to be 27. And once the delivery is delayed, people ululate and the movement starts. Remember, May is here. June is here. July is the final push. So they have been strategic to keep their date together. And on 27th, when they announce, none of the principals has where to go. All of them must remain there. They are either slaughtered together or they succeed together. So 27 is a big day for the opposition. The question will be, how will Uhuru Kenyatta react?
Yeah,
in 2007, the same Uhuru Park, Raila said, Kibaki tosha. Uhuru went, we only saw Uhuru at where? Blue Post Hotel conceding defeat. Is President Uhuru Kenyatta going to sit and wait that announcement take effect? I'm likely to see Jubilee start serious campaigns to keep that away. You've seen the president today from State House. He has stolen the thunder from what was happening at Bomas. So we are likely to see a rejuvenated Jubilee fighting back to neutralize the 27th. Are we likely to have another Jubilee rally at Kasarani on that day or at...
on 27th?
On 27th, definitely. They cannot allow NASA to carry the day without interruptions.
Dismas, what are your thoughts?
Well, you know, I'm surprised that the lawyer Omari says President Kenyatta stole the thunder from NASA today. What the president said today cannot be compared to what NASA said today. When you look at the news value from an objective value, I would actually be surprised if President Kenyatta's story would be the first item in the newspaper or anywhere.
And everything is going to be around 27. Let's talk about a little bit about what he had to say, just talking to aspirants in his party, making it very clear that no violence will be tolerated in his party, and anyone who engages in violence, there will be consequences.
Well, again, it's surprising because under the new constitution, one would expect that the Inspector General of Police knows his work, and if you're giving him instructions, it's supposed to be written. very written instructions that you can make reference to. So for the president to say that anybody who engages in mischief, especially from Jubilee, is going to be punished or is going to face disciplinary measure, for me that's neither here nor there. The issue the president was addressing today was about the Nairobi elections. Because people said when he was in a funeral last week, someplace in Murang'a, in a very subtle manner said that Peter Ken is the candidate for Nairobi. And that has caused a bit of tension within Nairobi.
That is bringing a lot of tension.
So that's the reason why we had a media conference today. And you recall that the Jubilee nominations for Nairobi were supposed to take place tomorrow.
Yeah,
and
postponed.
the head of the secretariat, Tuju, comes up with a reason which ordinarily you would think it's some sort of
Are there Muslims in Nairobi?
Well, when did Jubilee discover that in fact there are Muslims in Nairobi? Was it a sudden occurrence? Yeah? I mean, there are Muslims all over the nation. So if you are going to have a Jubilee primaries on Friday, that cannot be a reason.
Yeah.
The underlying reason is Peter Ken and Sonko. The people want to sit down over single malt whiskey and agree who is going to be, because Jubilee Nairobi wants to have nominations only for the MCAs. All the other positions is going to be negotiated democracy. And President Kenyatta repeated times above number, I counted more than 10 times, that if there are anybody within Jubilee who would like us to sit down and agree on who is going to run for a particular position without having necessarily to go for the nomination, that's most welcome. But if they think that my office cannot facilitate that, they can go ahead. He repeated that times above number, that he is willing to do that. And that's the underlying reason in Nairobi. And if you look at Nairobi is very complicated, and you begin to see a fight between the president and his deputy. And the same is playing out in Nakuru. It was very surprising that Tuju can actually go to Nakuru to try and sort out a mess. Because there you have some folks from State House wanting their own candidates because they fear the deputy president, Ruto, in Nakuru. And when you come to Nairobi, believe you me, if Jubilee wanted Kidero to go home the first thing in the morning, then you have Sonko with all the support. He's got fanatical supporters. They'll kick out Kidero.
He doesn't have that much support.
Well, he can ride on the president's capital, because even he won this election because he rode on the president's capital, and he can easily do it today. However, there is the Peter Ken scenario, because again, when you look at the central Kenya politics, they're saying, wait a minute, the first president of Kenya came from Kiambu. The second president came from Nyeri. There's another one who has come from Kiambu. Is it not time for Murang'a people to look at our destiny? That's where Peter Ken comes in. Don't think Peter Ken is running in Nairobi because he's got the Midas touch, that he's going to come to Nairobi, give us street lights, there'll be no garbage, there'll be nothing. People are looking at succession politics. And for me, it was very disappointing that the president, he spoke as a head of state from State House, which is okay. But again, he went into Jubilee issues, which he should have addressed from the Pangani headquarters or from a different venue. Because as a country moving forward, we need to start seeing the big difference between President Kenyatta as the head of state and President Kenyatta as a Jubilee party leader. Because, for the last 4 years, you've witnessed that so many Jubilee parliamentary group meetings taking place at State House. So you begin to wonder, who is speaking that tab? Is it Jubilee as a political party, or is it Wajiku, the normal taxpayer?
Okay. Danso Mari, just before you wrap this up, the president's ultimatum today in the morning, is it going to do anything to change how the primaries are going to be carried out, looking at what has happened in some of ODM primaries?
Let me tell you, there is no party with the capacity to conduct party primaries. IBC, a constitutional office funded by the state, sometimes gets logistical nightmares to conduct a national holiday, a national election. For 5 years. What of a small IEBC within Jubilee or within ODM or within Chama Shinani? That IEBC, that election board, National Election Board of Jubilee, is a small entity. It doesn't have the full force of law to maintain law and order. I'm telling you from tomorrow, it's a circus. It's going to be the greatest circus that you have never seen. The Nairobi elections, why the president is so worried, is a question that ODM is not going to have their nominations for the governor. Members of ODM, rumor has, they will vote for a weak candidate in Jubilee. And that is the person who is likely to win the ticket. And that is the fear. How do you know who is a Jubilee person? The smart card has been nullified.
Oh, yeah.
So they don't have a register of Jubilee members. So how are they going to deal with Kidero's group of people who are saying Kidero must ensure a weak candidate takes the ticket of Jubilee? So those are the dynamics that the Jubilee is now realizing, that it is now not the question of tough talks from State House or tough talks from hotels. It is now the reality that it is. Also,
Jubilee have to deal
when
with,
you
okay.
when also I've heard Duale dismiss Isaac Ruto that he adds no value. When you see Tuju, will Tuju add a vote
Okay.
for Jubilee?
Listen, we need to wrap this up. But people, thank you so much for joining us on Worldview this afternoon. Dismas Makua and Danstan Omari. And as usual, we'll have you tomorrow on News Center?
Oh, definitely, definitely. That
Okay,
is when
so
we have it. Tomorrow is long and...
Tomorrow, trust me, if you want to have a conversation about politics, what has been happening in the country in the last 1 week, then tomorrow you need to have a date with us from 10